we go. Hi, this is Jenna Apgar and Dave Roberts for the Vision Challenge Day 11 and discussing the Vision Credo.
So the Vision Credo, remember when we started, actually it was day 2, we talked about your why, and then we talked about if anything were possible, and now that we've gone through 10 days.
10 days now.
This is day 11, so this is a bonus day. We want to talk about your credo. We want to kind of distill that very comprehensive, very large, hopefully large vision of the future that you have, this dream story as we've called it. And we want to get it down to what we call a credo, something that...
It's like your tenet, your personal mission.
Right, it evokes excitement. You know, you get something you would be excited to share with other people, right?
Very excited to share. It's something that is you,
Right.
very much you and personal to you.
Right, so it wouldn't be, your credo wouldn't be everybody in your company necessarily, right?
No, or your family. Just it's very specific to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the key things here is, as I thought about this particular section or this particular challenge is really, some of you have engaged with our, and a number of you have engaged with our daily challenges with the posts and everything within the group and so on, but this is really getting it out there in a much broader sense, right?
Yeah, and not just sharing it with us in the Vision Challenge engagement room, which we love. We've had such a blast being able to read them all and really get to know each one of you much more personally because of your vision story. But how do you share all that with the world? How do you share that with your own team?
Right.
So that you can start to build alignment and start to build that bridge back
Right.
to where you are now, so you can get to where you want to be.
It's kind of,
It's like help me, help you, help me, help you.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like coming out of the closet too, right? You know, I mean,
Especially if you haven't shared with it because
Right.
you've been afraid or you found the barriers are there.
well, one of the things, you know, I mean, what we talked about a little bit. I mean, what happens is, remember, this isn't necessarily a credo that's a statement of everything you've done or everything you're doing today.
No,
Okay, this credo is
your vision.
your vision, who you
vision
are,
credo.
who you are going forward, not that. So,
There are some things I feel like are innate. Like we kind of talked about, I can't remember which day. I think it was Tuesday, 7. Your superpower. That
Superpower, right.
superpower is, you know, your past, present, future still. But it's part of you now, but
Right.
also your vision.
right. Well, and the thing is, once you start getting that outside for other people to help edit or to react to, what happens? A lot of times they don't necessarily, they say, well, wait a minute, that's not you. Why don't I, you know, especially like if you go to your spouse and say, this is my credo, and they go, how come we never talked about this, right? Or go to your best friend and say, hey, I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. I've been on a vision challenge, and this is my credo. And they go, where'd that come from? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, can that happen?
Certainly. Because there's a lot of things we've asked very personal questions
Right.
that a lot of times people don't share with one another. Even those closest, sometimes most especially those closest to them.
Right. Well, the thing is, unfortunately, I can't, and this may sound a little negative, but a lot of times those people that are closest to you or have known you the longest, a lot of times will undermine your dream in a way, not intentionally, but just saying,
They think
okay,
they're being helpful.
oh yeah, just you need to be realistic about this, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You know.
Parents. I think about like the parent and the
Yeah.
teenager.
I mean, this is the real world, right? I mean, you know, you can't dream too big. I mean,
Could
since
you imagine telling Elon Musk that?
yeah,
Did you see what he just came out with? Like the panels, you actually build your roof are solar panels and they work like slate tiles.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, nothing new would ever get invented, right? If somebody didn't have a dream that was bigger than what you could see or what you have seen. So it's not that unusual. It's not that weird. Unfortunately, when you start to break out, when you want to pursue that vision, and now you're saying, okay, I've got it off of out of my journal, out of my daily journal, and maybe off of the Vision Challenge private group, or even off the Business Growth Network page. Now I'm going to put it out there on my Facebook. I'm going to put it out there on my LinkedIn. I'm going to say, this is Dave Roberts' credo.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, okay, really? Is that really what it is? I mean,
Your wife joined.
hey, Cheryl. Love you, babe. So we're talking about the Vision Credo. And so if anything were possible, what would your credo look like? I'd like. We'll talk about that when I get home. Anyway, so oh, she loved it. Oh, that's good.
That's a good way.
Yeah, she's taking care of it. So, but yeah,
We have some prompts that come down to like 7 little lines, almost think like a short little poem, if you will. Nice little Halloween one. But the best way is even to take this little poem of sorts that you've created, this call to action, stick it on a nice picture, nice background picture. My favorite, I always like to say Snappa. I use Snappa. There's what's her name? Is it Hot Chocolate is the company? I'll send out an email tomorrow with some help creating graphics. With some of the places that I use to get beautiful graphics, but just get some kind of background image, even if it's just white, and put that on there, and make that like your personal mission statement, your vision credo.
yeah, and I think that's really really important to get it out there and make it something. So if you put it out there on a picture, right, people will look at it, right?
Well,
It'll attract them. If you just put words
pictures
out
on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, instantly grab our attention.
Yeah, you're the marketing expert.
50% of all people are visual.
Right.
So if you're just putting words, someone who really likes you might read them.
Right.
But if you put it out there on a nice graphic, which isn't that hard to do with the apps and the smartphones these days, it will really grab someone's attention. If you can even double down on that, and you can choose a graphic that really speaks to your vision on top of that,
Right.
now you've done even better. That's why you've got things like when, I guess you could probably sum up all of Nike's credo. Theirs is shoved down into just do it, right? And they don't just shove it out there on a piece of white board. They put like a guy jumping off the start line running or
Right.
sweating or lifting weights, and that in 3 words sums
Illustrates,
up
yeah.
everything between the picture and the words.
Yeah.
That's their credo. So what is yours? It doesn't have to be 7 lines. It doesn't have to be long. Just there's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's just how do you sum up you and your passion and where you want to go with your business, where you want to go with your life, all in a little picture.
Well, and the thing is, to reiterate to some degree what we've said in the letters or in today's email, but this isn't like starting from scratch. Hopefully, you have raw materials, right, from the previous 10 days
So,
that
yeah,
you're
great
now
lines.
you're reflecting on, right? You're looking at. In the first day you said, this is my why, right?
Yes.
The second day you said, if anything were possible. And then you've defined, what is your ideal client and what's your tribe look like and your audience and your superpower. And so these are all questions that and answers that you can draw and say, okay, now if I distill all that down, if I tie it up with that nice bow, as you called it,
Well, certainly while you
what
were
would that
writing,
say? Yeah.
certain things I would like to think popped out at you
Yeah.
and really jumped in like, whoa. And they sounded good. They were nice. So taking those best parts, pulling them all together and making them even more brief,
Right.
and more succinct, more just do it, and putting them down on paper, putting them on a picture. I think in the email I said if you put it down into a pretty picture and post it up on your own Pinterest, send us a link and we'll pin it and we'll make a board of everyone else's credo. I'll make David do one this week. And I still need to do mine. I wanted to finish my own last challenges before I post
what was that,
them up.
Snappa? Is that-
Snappa.
I
is what
don't
have.
think I downloaded some of those apps, but I don't think I downloaded that.
Snappa you have to pay for. There is no phone
I think I
version.
paid for.
And it's on you have to do it on
Oh,
your
do it on
laptop.
the phone.
Yeah.
That's probably why it's not on my phone. That was my.
And on Chrome or Firefox even further. Not even Safari. No love for the Mac users.
Well, I use Firefox anyway on my Mac, so.
See if I didn't miss anything. So like the first line is, who are you? And that doesn't mean like my name is Jenna Apgar, but who are you? You know, Ryan from Benefit Concepts
Right.
and my Veterans in Business group. I don't have like a great tagline. It's never been necessary for me. And he just came up with one. Digital warfare specialist.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
I was like, I feel like I'm a hacker at that point, or an anti-hacker. So we changed it up to digital marketing warfare strategist. So, I mean, it could be something as like that. Like, that was really clever. I have to give him props for to Holloway for coming up with that. But that's who I am. That's what I do. And whether it's somebody's personal life or their business life, I'm constantly strategizing it for them, whether they like it or not.
Right.
But that's what we mean by who you are. And that's very unique. I've seen some people do it with archetypes.
Oh yeah.
And I've kind of like gone away from that because nobody wants to be told they're a joker. I don't think they can wrap their head around that as for business, and it's not professional.
Right.
That's good for your
It
personal.
might be kind of fun, but it's yeah.
I'll slide a link in there for somebody to do it.
Sure.
That makes it easier.
Yeah. Well, so I think that's reasonably clear as far as getting that, coming up with that credo. Now we talked about tomorrow really just being kind of like a catch-up day to some degree.
Catch-up day. I'll
Yeah.
send an email out with some resources to help you, not just for your credo, but to help you figure out how to post and publish the entirety of our Vision Challenge. Because a lot of the work, everyone's been doing it, you know, you've just been cultivating it. It's been done in the private group, which is great, and you like reading it, but now it's kind of time to really be your vision.
Right.
And share it with everyone else you know, so they know where you want to go.
Right.
And you kind of put that energy into the world and can start having people magnetized to what it is you actually are looking for.
So, you know, and the whole concept of catch-up, the credo is tying it up, but if you're putting a bow on a box full of parts and you're not sure you got all the parts in it, it's not going to be a great gift to open when you get to it. So one of the things we do want to do is have you catch up as much as possible. Not that this is a static document, but go back through the journal, look at the various things, make sure whether it's in your own journal or whether it's on the PDFs, but make sure that you have a complete package, because the grand prize here is to get to spend 4 hours going through what you have, and that's the starting point. I mean, the reality of
You
it
need
is
that.
the person who wins the time to go through this and get some quality time to walk through your package for
Yes.
the Vision Challenge and figure out how do we start getting alignment, how do we refine that, and also some other things that we talk about. That's going to be the starting point.
Well, if you don't have the material, you can't start building the bridge.
Right. So then this is the bridge from the future that we've referenced a few times, but hopefully we've got some degree of clarity. The next step will be really, really getting that clarity, maybe a deep dive, as I've called it before, and understand, you know, to where you can explain it to myself and to Jenna and to other people, obviously, because until you can really have that clarity yourself and then be able to explain it to somebody else, it's going to be difficult to get people to go on this journey from the future with you. And the reality of it is life and business are a team sport, right?
I feel like if you look at anybody who's truly been successful,
Right.
if you look at Warren Buffett or Elon Musk or forgot the Microsoft dude's name, or Steve Jobs, any of these people, if you ever talk to them, they were like, "This is my mission."
Yeah, Bill Gates is very clear. That was a
Yeah,
big
Bill
one.
Gates. There's never a moment in a conversation where if you ask them, "What's your mission?" they don't know the answer to it.
Right.
That's how they were able to accomplish what they did, is they sat down with a very crystal clear image. This is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And then when you tell people that, they're like, "Hey, I know a guy."
Yeah.
And then you can start to connecting those dots,
Right.
and start meeting the people that you need to complete that bridge.
So I think that the key is maybe gives you a little foreshadowing as to what we're going to do on Wednesday. Which on Wednesday we'll be talking about. Well, I won't go into.
Wednesday's not a hard day. Wednesday's a fun day.
Wednesday will be a fun day. Yeah, let's put it that way. So.
But kind of going back and getting back on track to your creative for line 2 or step 2, the principles that guide your work. So kind of like your why and the morals that hold them together. What was your why, and why do you help? Who are the people you want to help? And what principles guide those? Those could be religious. Those could just be business ethics, good business ethics.
Right.
But I mean, there are some I think that are standard across the board, but I think there are some that are very unique to you. Teresa was talking about it's very important to her to take women and help them get out of situations where they're stuck at home with kids and make sure that they are financially independent. That's a very big motivator for her work. Line 3, the biggest points you want to drive home to your clients. If you could think of one line to just do it, that was the most important line. I think my daughter's marketing teacher even said 7 words or less, like really super brief. What would those be? How can you help them achieve that big point? So for your clients, almost like a really, really brief summary of that whole client experience.
Right.
How do you do that?
Well, what's possible? I mean, what's possible? Not only what's possible with them, but I mean, I'm hoping, and this isn't a requirement, but I'm hoping that if anything were possible, vision, like in my case, and again, I'm not saying mine needs to be yours, but mine includes not only my kids' generation, but my kids' kids' generation. I mean, I want to have a multi-generational impact. So what is possible for the people that I'm going to be working with in my business, that I'm going to be making an impact for them, and how, what am I going to be making possible for that group? What's possible that they'll achieve after they not only work with me in the future, but also
moving forward.
What are the ultimate impact? What's the impact of that going forward?
And then what is your strongest belief? I mean, that again can be very short and needs to really sum up, how do you say it? It should be short, but what means everything to you? Kind of going back to your why, but
Right.
relating it back to your client.
Well, I mean, the thing is, when I start with, in my own sense, when I start with a CEO, one of the things I know, and my strongest belief as it pertains to doing what I believe I'm called to do in the context of connecting the dots, is that there's changes happening so fast and at such a rate, in such an expanse, that it creates a degree of paralysis. And the only way to get off of that paralysis is to get clarity and to re-engage with your dream, with the future, so that you can get moving forward to something you can see. And that strong belief drives a lot of what I end up doing, is assuming, because that way I know that everybody has that need, right?
I've seen people spend like 10 grand on different coaching and different programs and then not do anything with it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's one of the things we are going to talk about, right? Is how do you take this and not make it a list of a stack of papers that you ultimately throw away,
Yeah, no.
but then something that you can then take and do some work with, because it'll only be valuable for you if you actually put it into
And you
action.
keep going.
Right.
And you just use this as a starting to build that initial momentum.
Right.
And to wrap it all up for your posting, and what we'd like to see, and not just posted to the Vision Challenge, but posted to your public Facebook business page or Instagram page or whatever it is you're using. Probably not Twitter. I hear they're struggling and about to be purchased or go out of business.
Really?
Vine just died. But put it on that image, share it with everyone. And tag us in it, let us know where it's at, or then share it then to the Vision Challenge so we can see it there. But do publish it, and do publish it not just to us, but to everybody who needs to see it. Let's see what else I have here. So that was the part for today, is, you know, just putting that little credo together, and it sounds a little short and easy to describe, but it does have a huge impact once you get it together and you have all the, I feel like, the building blocks you need from the previous 10 days challenge.
Well, it'll be fun to start seeing some of these. This will be a good, you know, impact thing to see on people's pages.
Well, and I thought about sharing my own inside the email, and then I was like, I kind of want to see what everyone else builds on their own, with their own imagination, instead of copying somebody else's.
Well, or modeling,
Yeah.
because you tend to say, okay, well, my version of that. It's just like your vision of the future needs to be unencumbered by your past and the current circumstances with what you really want to achieve. This is the same thing. Would your credo look like? Not based encumbered by what I think it should look like, but what do you think, and what is your vision challenge content bring you to realize is your credo, right?
Yep. And then for tomorrow, I'll send out an email with, if you're struggling with how to get it posted or the imagery, I'll send out an email with just some how-tos and some link to kind of walk you through some of the different
That'll be
tools that'll
helpful.
help
I
you.
need that for myself.
It's short and sweet. I think my video for it is 22 minutes, so it won't take too long to go through it. And then a couple links maybe to like Hootsuite or something, which just helps you post so you don't forget. But I know for me, I like create like 30 postings at once, and then you can just schedule them all out so it's not all on top of each other. But if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask down here in the comments below, and we'll get them all answered, or head over to the Vision Challenge Engagement group. And if you don't understand some of the concepts that we're talking about, feel free to ask. I feel like everyone's posting and they're not asking questions, but I mean, that's why we set aside 2 weeks of time that was only for this project, to make sure that we can answer all your questions.
Well, it's interesting because we have the Richardson Plano networkers,
Yes.
and this medium is still not as interactive. That's one of the things we're working with here. Is
It can be.
This whole process, it can be, but we're not as familiar with it. So when we see some of the people that are in the Vision Challenge and actually see them on Wednesday or Friday, they're quick with a whole bunch of questions, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, you can't, but
I don't think people quite understand how the Facebook Live works when they're watching it.
right,
But
because
they
you can actually,
necessarily
they can ask questions. If we say something live and you're watching this and it's recorded, you can still put the question. The question will occur at the place in the video.
Virginia
right?
seemed to get
It'll
it really
pop up,
quick.
yeah.
She was commenting.
Yeah,
as we
it'll
were
pop
talking.
up, and then we can actually look at it, and when we see the comments, we can.
I
we
feel like
can
the
respond.
younger millennials, they get it really easy. It's when you talk
Yeah,
about
a little
us all.
too much. Yeah, I had to explain to my daughter that texting to me still isn't talking. So having a text exchange isn't having a conversation.
I think I sent a text message this long to my husband
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, so yeah, it's an interesting. There are some disconnects, but I love the millennials. So all my kids, I love you. So
All right, well, if you have any questions, let us know, and we will be back on Wednesday to walk you through the challenge for that one, and that will be a completely fun one. And we'll send out some tech tips for tomorrow for how to get this out. So, if you have any questions, let us know. Not only the younger ones. But we'll get that out for you, and don't forget to ask questions and we'll get them answered. Bye. Have a great
Bye.
Halloween.
Bye, Cheryl.
Happy
See you later.
Halloween.